In today's video, we have some more NHL RFA signings to discuss, plus we have another member of the 2018 NHL draft class signed his entry-level contract. We'll discuss all that coming up next. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. If you're new to the channel, thanks for stopping by. We review and discuss all 31 NHL teams, so if you're a huge hockey fan, consider subscribing and clicking the bell so you don't miss anything. As I mentioned off the top here, we have a number of RFA NHL players that have come to terms with new contracts with their existing teams here, and we also have a member of the 2018 NHL draft class who has signed his entry-level contract. So let's jump in here to all the signings. So let's get started here with the entry-level deal that was signed, which was the Columbus Blue Jackets signing their first-round selection. Liam Foudy obviously came from the OHL's London Knights to his entry-level contract. Obviously, he's going to remain in junior for another season, if not two, before he makes his way to the pro game. But he has inked his deal and is now officially under contract with the Columbus Blue Jackets. The New York Rangers have come to terms with a couple of their RFAs, including Ryan Spooner and Kevin Hayes. Now, we did touch on the Kevin Hayes contract in yesterday's video, where we were discussing some NHL trade rumors. Obviously, in that video, we mentioned Kevin Hayes as a potential trade target for the Rangers, as it appears as though they seem to be reluctant to sign him here to a long-term deal. They seem to have a little bit of a difficult time on the contract negotiation as well. They ended up settling on a one-year deal, paying Hayes an annual value of $5.175 million. It was being reported that Hayes was looking for closer to $6 million. They were having a difficult time on the contract, and they almost went to arbitration, so they were able to get this deal done ahead of time, but it just seems to be that they're reluctant to sign him here long term. Kevin Hayes' name was already being brought up in trade talk even before this contract was put into place, but the fact that they didn't come to a long-term agreement just kind of resurfaced that yesterday once the contract was announced here. Obviously, Hayes will start the year with the Rangers, but it wouldn't be surprising to see him moved throughout the year, possibly closer to the NHL trade deadline. As I mentioned, the New York Rangers also came to terms with newly acquired Ryan Spooner. Obviously, Spooner was one of the forwards that came back from the Boston Bruins in their Rick Nash trade. Spooner was absolutely phenomenal for the Rangers after being acquired, putting up 16 points in 20 games and earned himself a 2-year contract with an annual value at $4 million. Now, the Ottawa native has been in the NHL for a few years now with the Bruins, has put up some decent point totals at times, but has struggled with his consistency. If he can keep up his play like he did towards the end of the year after being traded to the New York Rangers, then this contract will certainly prove to be a very fair deal. Obviously, putting up 16 points in 20 games is quite a clip. We'll see what he can do with a full season with the Blue Shirts. The Calgary Flames have come to terms with a restricted free agent forward Garner Hathaway in a one-year deal worth $850,000. He's been part of the Flames organization for a while now, has played parts of 3 seasons. Last year, got into 59 games and put up 13 points. Still trying to establish himself here as a regular, everyday NHL player. Obviously, some of the moves the Flames did bring in some other more experienced forwards is not going to help his case any, but if he continues to work hard and has a good season, then he'll still have an opportunity here to play in the NHL. The Winnipeg Jets have come to terms with RFA forward Nick Paton on a one-year deal worth $874,000. Obviously, the Nick Paton has kind of struggled to become a regular NHLer here over the past couple of years. Kind of got passed on the depth chart within the Jets organization by some players like a Kyle Connor or even a Jack Roslovic. Obviously, a lot of their younger guys have kind of had more opportunity and kind of seized positions within the forward group, which has made it tough on Paton to kind of become a regular at the NHL level. Hopefully this season allows Paton to establish himself with a little bit more of NHL ice time, but more than likely he's going to end up playing a fair bit in the American Hockey League again. Minnesota Wild have signed an unrestricted free agent, Matt Reed, to a one-year, 2-way contract. Obviously, Reed's now 32 years old, been around the league for quite a while, played a number of years with the Philadelphia Flyers organization, but really ever since his first full year where he put up 22 goals, has been on a decline ever since. During Reed's first full season, he put up 40 points, then he dropped to 30, then to 26, then to 19, and then last year he barely played at all and only scored 1 goal. So obviously he's on a decline, more than likely plays in the AHL as a depth piece for the Minnesota Wild. The Nashville Predators have come to terms with restricted free agent forward Miko Salamanca on a 2-year deal worth $750,000 per season. Obviously, Salamanca's been with the Predators organization for a few years now. Last season, he got into 58 games, put up 8 points, and like Garner Hathaway, he's still kind of struggling to become a regular NHL player who's always in the lineup here. Obviously, with the Predators having such a deep team and a deep forward group, that's going to be a challenge for Salamanca, but he is a good depth piece for them. Nice to see them keeping him around for a couple more years, and hopefully his role with the team can continue to grow here during the 18-19 season. A few other quick notes to mention here. We have some other players looking to sign new contracts, but are likely heading down the road of the arbitration process. On today, August the 1st, Cody Ceci will have his hearing. Right now, they're quite a ways apart on contract. Cody Ceci was apparently requesting $6 million, while the team was offering $3.3 million. Obviously, they're kind of using, I think, the Brandon Montour recent signing with the Ducks as a comparable contract, which probably is comparable. Cody Ceci does have a fair bit more NHL experience under his belt, even though they're the same age. Obviously, he made it to the NHL a lot faster. But really, if you look at his stats, Cody Ceci, he plays a lot of minutes, but his performance, especially defensively, has been very underwhelming at best. There's no way he's a $6 million player. Obviously, Cody and his agent need to give their head a shake. I think that's absolutely insane. I think in this case, the team more likely is going to win that case, be closer to the 3.3 than the 6. I can see it maybe creeping up closer to 4. Like I said, if you look at Montour's 3.3 deal, obviously Ceci does have more experience, so I could see it, maybe 3.7, 3.9, something along those lines, but I don't see them getting anywhere close to the $6 million. That's an absolutely ridiculous ask, and which is why some of these cases go to arbitration. You either have a team really lowballing or a player and his agent really highballing their value, and this is certainly a case of the player being on the high end of it for sure. Now that takes us over to Mark Stone, who's the other end of the spectrum here, with Stone requesting apparently $9 million contract, and the Senators offering closer to $5 million. Now that's, again, a different reason, but absolutely ridiculous. Stone is worth way more than $5 million. I'm not sure he's a $9 million player, but he's certainly worth a lot closer to the 9 than he is to 5. Now, as we talked about in a video the other day, the record for an arbitration award was $7.5 million given to Shea Weber back when he was with Nashville. I would not be shocked if Stone breaks that record. Personally, I have him pegged to be around an $8 million player. So we'll see. I really can't understand why they're lowballing him so hard at $5 million. That's just ownership being cheap. That's absolutely ridiculous. I don't know why they can't be more fair in their contracts here. Obviously, with the CC case, I think they are being reasonable and fair. But on the Stone case here, there's no way they're going to win that at all. The main difference here between the two is that Cody Ceci would still be an RFA next season, so they still have a controllable asset. But this is Mark Stone's last year under the RFA banner. He would become an unrestricted free agent if he just does a one-year deal. So it's really not smart on Ottawa's case to not get him locked up and to be more fair with the negotiations. Really, I don't see any reason why they couldn't offer him an 8-year deal at $8 million per season. That would be the right, fair thing to do. So this really, from the Senators' perspective, doesn't really make any sense. But then again, a lot from that organization lately doesn't make sense. So time will tell here. We'll see where things land over the next couple days as these hearings get underway. If you're new to the channel here, hope you consider subscribing. We cover all 31 NHL teams, and there's plenty of content here for all hockey fans to enjoy. So if you're new, hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, hit the like button as well. I'd appreciate it if you did. As always, thank you very much for watching, everybody. We will catch you next time.